So I made Megatron out of a Walther P38. My friend tells me it's a P1, but the markings say P38 on it. So this is probably over 10 years old. A friend of mine cerakoted it in this sort of dull silver. And then I wanted a scope, and Maruzen had a Man From U.N.C.L.E. Kit. So for those who are not familiar with the origins of Megatron, yes, he's based on a handgun back in G1 in the 80s, but Hasbro didn't make the toy. They found it in Japan, and it's made by Takara, and it was under a series called Microchange. Now, Microchange was a sort of a spin-off kind of from Micro Man. Basically, the exploring the Micro Man world, they would have one-to-one scaled items like a Coke can or a audio cassette, but also GunRobos. Now, the GunRobos were never one-to-one exactly. Like, this is Megatron, this is real Megatron, so you can see the size difference, right? It's lots. It's like a baby version of the real size Walther P38. Under Microchange, I don't know if you can see this, but it says MC12, MC13. That's Microchange 12, which was a black Walther P38 with brown plastic grips to make it look like wood. And then MC13 was the gun that became Megatron. The MC13, I have one. It comes in a cardboard case with a styrofoam insert with the gun, the scope, the barrel extension, and a stock. And it actually comes from a TV show in the 70s called Man From U.N.C.L.E. In the TV show, they had a prop. Spy movies and TV shows love to take a little pistol and transform it into a sniper rifle of sorts. So in the TV show, the Man From U.N.C.L.E., they used a Walther P38 with a barrel extension, maybe a silencer, a scope, and a stock. I've never watched the show, I just know that's where it came from. And even the Takara Microchange toy, the set, actually says U.N.C.L.E. set, and has the acronym U.N.C.L.E. printed on the front of the box. So that's why Megatron is a Walther P38. So I had this painted. Now, like I said before, Maruzen had a kit to turn their airsoft replica of a Walther P38 into the Man From U.N.C.L.E. gun. So I was able to find the grips, and more importantly, the grip is what allows the scope to attach to the gun. Because if you look at the original Megatron, they have this sort of scope mount thing. I don't really know how the Man From U.N.C.L.E. TV show did it, but on a handgun like this, you cannot mount the scope to the slide, because when this thing shoots, this thing's going to move. Okay, you can't have a scope on there while this is moving. So this is the way I was able to achieve that, is to have this sort of bridge come up and over to mount the scope. Now, the scope is the last piece of this puzzle. Yes, I need a stock and I need a barrel extension, but I'm not really that's not a high priority. The scope was the higher priority. This is a Bushnell Phantom, is what the scope is used. And if you look, well, let's see, like that. Yeah, if you look carefully, you can see they're the same. This is what the scope was based off of. It was based off of the Man From U.N.C.L.E. TV show. You can sort of see there's two little screws. There's the windage adjustment and the elevation adjustment on top. That's exactly what you have here. You have two screws, windage, elevation, even this sort of geometry of this thing here matches what they put on, matches what they put on the Megatron gun. You can see this piece kind of come up in front of the elevation turret. Now, the only thing I think that I would like to do is have someone help me 3D print a sleeve that kind of better mimics this aesthetic, because this is really narrow, and Megatron's Canon kind of flares out a little bit right there at bottom, so it makes it wider than it really looks, just to give the closer aesthetic to the Walther, the Megatron gun, my Walther. So yeah, this is a fully functioning 9mm Walther P38 Megatron. Shooting 9mm 115 grain. Have a failed to feed. That could be magazine related. Not even close. So, scope is bad. I can't zero it to the gun. I'm using the irons. Basically, I'm looking underneath the irons. So I'm looking through the irons right there. And then, so that's what the scope looks like. And then there's the irons underneath. Eight rounds of 9mm. Now this magazine has been giving me some feeding issues, so we'll see how well this works. I got the clone accurate scope on there. Oh, there we go.